Assalamu alaikum. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, distinguished faculty and staff. Dean Freed, Vice Dean Kornfeld, former Vice President Al Gore, family, friends, and loved ones. And finally, I turn to you, the graduating class of 2019. Take a deep breath, everybody. You're really here. We've made it. I'm in disbelief a little bit. Standing up here, my heart is filled with an abundance of gratitude. What a true honor it has been to be on this journey with all of you. No one quite explains what graduate school is really like or the myriad of experiences that it comes with. But together, we have weathered everything from freezing New York winters to long nights in the Knowledge Center, group projects, and scrambling for free food at other departments' holiday parties. Shouts out to Epi and SMS. Our time here has been full of many changes. I mean, the one doesn't run up here anymore, and Juju is now cozy, fresh. But these buildings have also held some of our more challenging moments too. As we dealt with the stress of seemingly endless deadlines, practicum turned job worries, and frankly, life, which didn't stop because we had papers due, exams to grade, assignments to grade, and assignment exams to take. But the beauty was looking around and finding affirmation from one another, that we weren't alone in our questions, doubts, and fears, and watching the once strange faces from our cohorts transform into lifelong friendships and connections. Together, we navigated and unpacked our personal histories that, although varied, in one way or another, led us to public health. In unpacking my own personal history, I found myself engaged in a deep process of learning and unlearning. This past summer, I spent my practicum working on issues related to gender and reproductive health in my home country of Sudan. So much of home was familiar. The heat, the comfort of drinking cool hibiscus tea, and the warmth of hearing my grandmother call my name. Beyond the stillness and peace of my family home, I was cognizant of some of the realities on the ground. Bread and fuel lines that wrapped around street corners, overcrowded hospitals, and a range of human rights violations in a country that had been stifled by an iron fist dictatorship. I had mostly split my time between the main office at Ahfad Women's University and in the community. Within a month, I found myself on a plane to Kordofan, a state in Western Sudan, for a conference on the fight to end FGM. It was there that I realized that it did not matter how much Arabic I spoke or how knowledgeable I had felt about health and human rights issues. I had to learn to listen differently. Hearing the testimonies of young women, elders, midwives, OBGYNs, and community leaders, and witnessing the unapologetic and creative ways that they were engaged with this work deeply moved me. Everything from youth-led performance pieces to community town halls to hearing personal testimonies of pain, struggle, and triumph forced me to reckon with my own assumptions about what people believed about health and justice. Countercultures do exist. Across Sudan, stakeholders of all walks of life and identities were taking a firm stance against gender-based violence. We weren't presenting novel ideas on human rights. If anything, I or we just had access to tools and resources that legitimized and made our voices louder. And while the people had remained hospitable and kind, the air was clearly different. Sudan was on the precipice of what is now an uprising that has led to the ousting of a 30-year military dictator. The resistance was brewing all over the country, and getting to experience it during my time there showed me that the fervor and tenacity needed to uproot oppressive systems that perpetuate harmful practices was not contingent on my knowledge. The people already possessed the power and consciousness within them. I ultimately learned that cultural competency was and is not enough. Competency can't be measured as people are the experts of their own experiences. Cultures are not homogeneous, and neither are the people within them. Cultural humility is necessary, and it served as a powerful reflection tool that encouraged my process of self-evaluation and critique. I found myself analyzing power dynamics, social positioning, and recognizing how, albeit manifesting differently, the mechanisms of health and justice are inextricably connected, whether we are talking about reproductive justice in Sudan or maternal mortality here in New York City. I had been prepared to engage in debate and share what I knew, but I ended up learning more about myself and my personal relationship to public health. These lessons are reflected in the words of Indigenous Australian activist Lilla Watson, who said, If you have come here to help me, you are wasting your time. But if you have come because your liberation is bound up with mine, then let us work together. So let us work together, because public health is political and it is personal. And there are no perfect words to describe these times that we live in, but what is certain is that justice and liberation do not have to be these far out and unattainable dreams. There are ways to begin now, to begin today, to begin together, and to begin within. I encourage us to recognize the ways in which we can always be oriented towards justice by refuting Islamophobic, anti-Semitic, xenophobic, and racist tropes, rejecting locker room talk, believing survivors of violence, and advocating for pregnant Black mothers in your care. To fight for reproductive justice and the right to bodily autonomy that includes every body. To never forget that clean water is still a right denied to people in this country. To relentlessly maintain an intersectional lens that does not negate the lived experiences of Indigenous folks and all those who are pushed to the margins of our society. Frankly, to leave these savior complexes behind. To shift how we talk about communities and remember that they are people first. All the data we analyze and codes we run in SPSS or SAS, there are real people behind those numbers. Look around the rooms you enter, who's at the table deciding on interventions, but more importantly, who is not. We must ask ourselves, am I unknowingly complicit in causing more harm than good? Are my decisions and actions perpetuating systems of oppression? In the past 2 years, these questions have surfaced for me personally as I navigated interactions with peers, colleagues, professors, and communities. I realized that I was not above this unintentional harm and that my inaction and silence could enable pain in my own community. Those moments called for deep reflection and furthered the notion that intent and impact are significantly different. Recognizing that harm occurs even when unintended is a truth we must all hold. This further taught me that it is not about speaking up when it is easy, but that I must speak up when it is most difficult. And so, I call on us to lean into discomfort, to the unknown, and to lean into ourselves. All of us are complex and imperfect, but we have the ability to adapt, to grow, to hold and be held accountable, and to love. But love alone does not trump hate or bring about change. It's action that makes a difference. But together, they are a powerful force that demand we interrogate how we show up and hold space in our personal and professional lives. They reinforce that knowledge is not a fixed point and that learning exists on a continuum. Love and action can move us to engage in otherwise difficult conversations, to call in and call out, in a process that pushes us to evolve into our best selves. And I'm a firm believer in our collective capacity for radical love, hope, and critical action. And while much of history is already written, we are not stagnant. We are writing our own personal histories right now. So let us hone in and own our truths with kindness and compassion, and full-heartedly embrace our agency as we do so. But don't forget to pause intentionally. This is not about a single policy or protest. The work will be hard, and both doubt and mistakes are to be expected. But hold on to your purpose. It has gotten you this far and will take you further. Be sure to take care of yourselves and of each other. Remember, we are more than cut out for this. I find solace in knowing that it is us, the Mailman class of 2019, who are stepping out into this world as the next round of public health scholars and practitioners. May we always lead with a critical and curious mind, an open heart, and an unwavering and courageous commitment to actualizing health and justice for all. Thank you.